All right. Okay.
Let's see. I'm gonna go on Facebook. Let's see if I see
Perfect.
you. Let's
Yep.
see.
For
Just
us.
Dawn.
Okay. I
Yes,
see us
I
on
see
there.
it. Yes, I see it. I see it. Let's
Hmm.
tune in now.
All right. Hi, Facebook. How's everybody
Hey.
doing? Anybody hopping over from Instagram or LinkedIn? Thanks for stopping. We're so glad you're here tonight.
From Instagram or
Uh-oh, hold on.
for stopping.
Oh, all right. Okay, so we are here with the very knowledgeable, very talented IEP coach, Jamilah Bashir. Jamilah, thank you so much for coming on. We are so excited to have you.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
You are welcome. So before we get started, as you know, we are talking about behavior management success all month long. And what's really cool about this is that we're having the same topic with people who have come from different perspectives. So last week, we had someone who was speaking from the perspective of higher education, speaking of different strategies and support she would give to pre-service and brand new teachers. You are coming this week with the perspective of a coach and a classroom teacher, yes?
Yes, because when I saw your topic, behavior management, immediately I went back to the time I had in the classroom, because I was an emotional support teacher. So I handled a lot of behavior management. And then being a coach now, IEP coach now, supporting teachers with behavior management in their classrooms, because one thing that I've just noticed and learned is that a lot of people don't know how to progress and monitor behavior. They use the progress monitoring just academic goals, and there are certain things you need to do when you are implementing your behavior management system in your classroom, and you have to track it. You have to progress monitor the behavior to see, well, one, what is the root of the behavior, and are your interventions working or are they not working? And then using the data to make changes, and then also using the data to see, okay, we need to continue to focus on these behaviors, or, oh, we just need to focus on these behaviors, not this whole spectrum of behaviors.
Yeah. And the data tracking is so important because it's so easy to get in your emotions about it, right?
Mhm.
Like it's so easy to just think you had a good day or think you had a bad day because of how you're feeling. So, um, can I ask you, as you've gone through this process, how has your mindset and your approach to behavior changed over time?
I would say I don't take it personal the way I did when I first got into education. I'm a first year teacher, or even just having a couple years in, you take students' behavior personal because you feel like, oh my God, why are you being so disrespectful to me? Or why you're making it about you, and it's not about you. Their behavior has everything to do with the student. It has nothing to do with you. And it's something that, and students, when they behave a certain way, there's a reason for it. There is a possibility they didn't eat. There's a possibility they're going through puberty. You know what I mean? Girls could be on their cycle. It could be a reason something happened at home before they came, or it could be they don't know how to process how they are feeling, and the only way they know how is to perhaps throw something, is to perhaps speak out of turn because it's going to get your attention. And then when you finally talk to me, I can tell you what's bothering me. So I would say learning to remove my emotions from the situation and focus on the behavior, whatever that behavior is, and not take it personal.
Wow, that is something that is very, very challenging to learn, because a lot of times these kids, they're calling you names. They're yelling at you. You are the target of their frustration and anger.
Yes, you
Yeah.
are. And it's like, I don't want the people to think like, oh my gosh, it's just peaches and cream and flowers and kumbaya over here. That took years for me to do. Years
Mm.
for me to do. And there were some days, hey, I did it well, and some days I did not. But it's something you have to continuously work on. And that's something that you can just apply in your life too. Take your emotions out of the situation and focus on whatever the issue is at hand with no emotions. You are more likely to get to the solution or come to some type of um be able to maneuver the situation better versus when your emotions are involved.
Yeah. So, Jamilah, my counselor just said to me this week, emotions lie. They are liars. I was like, you're so right. You're
They are, because you can misinterpret something and you're, oh my God, they did it. And it's like, no, that's not what they meant.
so
It's da da
Mhm.
da da. And it's like, don't lead with your emotions.
Mhm.
You
Which
can't.
is
You
so
can't
much
lead.
easier said than done.
Right, it is. And being in a classroom, a lot of times because teachers do so much, it's, oh my God, I got something else to do now. Oh my God, I have to do this now. Oh, you're adding this on to what I'm doing. You know what I mean? You make it about you, even though, yes,
Mhm.
it's possibly adding more onto you and what you have to do, maybe paperwork wise or just management wise. However, it's like, if it's something that you could apply to your whole class, it makes it more manageable for you. But then again, also, you have to say, okay, it's not about me. It's about the student. And that can be very hard when you are the teacher, you're the only teacher, and you're not getting supported, proper support. You're not getting proper training or support from your admin or from anyone in your school. Then it does feel like, okay, you are going to lead with your emotions, because like, listen, it's about me because I'm the one that has to do XYZ. I have to teach. I got a progress monitor. I got to do these IEPs. I got to talk to these parents. These parents are attacking me, verbally.
Mhm. Hopefully that's
You
all.
have to deal with all that. So it's like, it's easy to be me, 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 me.
Mhm. So have you found, oh, Cherie's on here. Hey, Cherie, thanks for hopping on. Have you found some strategies that you can share with new teachers to help them kind of move from that place of, I have to do a good job. I have to be doing this. This is about me, because really we are evaluated as teachers on how our students behave in the classroom, on how much they learn in the classroom, that kind of stuff. So what could
I
you say for
would
that,
say,
for them?
I would say something, well, first and foremost, you have to do what works best for you. Like, you may see something that another teacher does, but it's natural for them to do that. It's natural for them to, like, some people may have behavior management systems where, oh, they do, each group in the classroom gets a jar and they add marbles to it, or they adding something to it. Hey, is that feasible for you to get up every time those kids do something good and put it in the jar? Is it feasible for you to do that? Hey, if it's
Mhm.
feasible for you to do that, knock yourself out. But if it's not, really got to look at whatever behavior management system you want to do. You have to say, can I really implement this with fidelity? Can I really be effective with this? And you have to really think about yourself. Like, what can I really do that I'm going to be consistent with it and is going to be a routine in my class?
Because
Because
it
if
has to
not,
be, oh, sorry.
right, you have to track that data. And it's like,
Yep.
if you can't keep up with it, don't do it.
Mhm.
I would say that's like the biggest thing.
Yeah, I think that's really good. When I was in the, well, I am in the classroom, and what we think about and talk about around this is it sustainable? The sustainability of it. And that's what I hear you saying. Do
Right.
something that's sustainable. So no, it's not about you. The behavior's not about you. However, whatever you're going to choose to do has to be sustainable for the classroom. And if you
Right,
have students, like if you have paraprofessionals in your room with you, then they should be part of this conversation, correct?
right. And then you have to know how to efficiently utilize your instructional assistants. Like they're not just there to
Mhm.
copy papers for you.
No, no, or do the children's work.
They're not there
Yep.
just, yeah, it's like if you like you, and that's another thing, like utilize your aides appropriately, efficiently. Like you can do so much and get so much
Mhm.
done if you utilize them well.
And I know that's something you're very passionate about. Do you want to just
Oh,
give a little
yeah.
plug for what you've done for working with? Go ahead.
So yes, I've worked with instructional assistants and aides, and you have to utilize them effectively. They were my hands, they were my eyes, and they were my hands when I was in the classroom.
Yep.
So it's they like even though they wanted to copy from me, that was not the only thing I had them do. And I also made them feel like they were a part of my team. We are
Mhm.
Team Bashir, and
Mhm.
we are supporting. This is our caseload that we support.
Mhm.
This is how I need you to be with these students.
Yes.
And I not only did I use them to support, the students, but they were also able to kind of help other students, like something like just some things you could have your instructional assistant do. Your instructional assistants can lead, if you're doing like if ELA or whatever your content is, they can lead small groups for you. Like you could take a group, they could take a group, or if it's that student that struggles a lot, you can put your instructional assistant with that student so that way you can focus on a group, or you can flip it.
Mhm.
Like my instructional assistant, they led study groups for exams and tests. My one aide, like she always wrote the homework on the back of the board, and that's how I always knew what homework my caseload students had. If she didn't do that, I would not know what their homework was.
Right.
But she just wrote it on the back of the board. And then one of my aides, he made a Google sheet and was putting the homework there, and he shared it with all the teachers in the school because there were other SLED teachers,
Wow.
who had students they needed to know the homework. Like
Right.
they can do so much, and take care of your instructional assistants. Like I always advocated for them. At birthdays, I had them. End of the year, I got them gift cards, and I wasn't cheap. I was doing $100 gift cards, and I would
Wow.
give them, a nice card, heartfelt card, because I truly appreciated them, and they are a big help, especially the I did a lot of check in and check out in my classroom. That was a behavior management system that I used, as well
Mhm.
as using rubrics to track behavior. And it was one year I had about 14 on my caseload, but they were the most 14 enabled and needy seventh graders I've ever met in my life. And my one aide took some, I took some, and then I had another aide, he took some.
Mhm.
That's how we checked in and checked out every day, because there was no way I could check in
To
and
do
check
it
out
all.
all those kids by myself. Even though you might say 14 is that's not a big number. It's not, but when we are focusing on behavior, we're focusing on, did you do your homework? Did you not do your homework? What did you do? Did you study for that test? Having to do that for 14 kids in the morning and the afternoon, it's too much for one person.
Absolutely, it is. Absolutely. And I know there's new teachers on here saying, everything I'm doing feels like it's too much for me. And so to those of you new teachers who are listening, even to veteran teachers, some of these ideas that the IEP coach Jamilah here is throwing out are gold. So Jamilah, can you tell us about a time when you encountered a particularly challenging behavior and
Where do I start?
how, yeah.
Where do I start? Oh gosh. Okay, I'll go back to it was this particular student emotionally is, well, they don't say emotionally disturbed anymore. They just say emotional disability. She has
Mhm.
an emotional disability. She has been placed at a placement. I want to say before I had her in seventh grade. And so she had meltdowns. And when I say meltdowns, it's like it's the end of the world. The world is coming crashing down. and all of that. That was her behavior. So me knowing this, and she really had a hard time letting teachers know she needed a break. So what me and my instructional assistant did, we gave her like 2 colored cards. One was yellow, one was red. And I would tell her, listen, if you need to see me, you need to show the red one. But if you need to take a break, you need to show the yellow one. So if you want to raise it up so your teacher can see, or if you want to just leave it on your desk so that your teacher sees, and if you get up, they know why you're getting up, you can do that. And I informed all her teachers this was a system that we were using. However, at the same time, even though I knew she had meltdowns, I did not coddle her ever. I did not baby her ever. I was never like, oh, it's okay. Like, I was not like that at all. I am a blunt person, and I am very blunt with my 7th graders because I need them to be more independent than what they came to me, than how they came to me. Because you're not going to meet another Miss Bashir, and no one's going to care that you have an emotional disability, that you have severe ADHD. No one's going to care.
Nope, they're not.
So and all of my students had group therapy and or individual counseling as well. So she had both group therapy, individual counseling. She has meltdowns. And I'll say the root of her meltdowns is if she did not get the outcome she was expecting to have, if she got bad news, and like also she didn't complete something, but that was something she had control of.
Okay.
So when I say I was blunt with her, it was just I put the accountability on her. I held her accountable. I never coddled any of my students. And I think that's a big mistake that some teachers make when they're dealing with behaviors, because it's a lot to do with behaviors, and you can't be like, oh, today, you know, I don't even care today. We're just going to go with you can't.
You're going to make it so much worse that way.
You can't.
Nope.
And especially if they're older, I'll say younger and old, because if they're young, you're really setting them up for either success or failure. You know, so for example, if she didn't do her homework, again, it's a crisis. And I had to explain to her, your lack of planning is not a crisis for me. And I was very just straight up with her. It's not a crisis for me. She's like, you're not even helping. I'm like, your lack of planning, it is not a crisis for me. So you didn't do your homework. You got 2 choices. You can sit down here and do it, or go back to your advisory and do it. Those are your choices. You know, making her accountable, making her, if she said, oh, you're not even helping me. I'm like, did you ask me anything? I don't recall you asking me anything. You know what I mean? It was things like that. And then one time she had a meltdown. My aide, anytime my aide brought her to me, I knew, okay, she's about to blow. So I take her into my classroom, and she just starts screaming. It's like that screeching scream, someone scratching nails on a board, screaming. Like I had like colleagues looking at my door, like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm okay. So she's talking, she's almost about to flip desk, but she's just mostly screaming. And as she's talking to me, I just let her get it all out. And I asked her a question because I had no idea what she was talking about. At one point, I couldn't follow what she was saying. I said, I'm sorry. Da, 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 da. And she said, what are you, stupid? Da, 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 da. So I let her finish. And then once I saw her coming down, I said, are you good now? She said, yes. And then I said, don't you ever in your life call me stupid, any name but Miss Bashir. And don't you ever do it to any adult in this building, because who shows up every day for you? Who is here every single day when you're mad, when you're sad, when you're happy, when you're glad? Who shows up for you every day? And she said, you. And I said, who else? Because I always included my aides. I said, who else? And she said, you know, my aide's name. And then she said, I'm so sorry, Miss Bashir. You're not stupid. I was just upset. I shouldn't have done that. I'm really, really sorry. But I waited till she calmed down, because if I would have done that while she's up here, she would not receive it. I had to wait until she calmed down, because then she could hear and receive what I'm saying to her, because I could not let her leave my space thinking she will talk to me or any adult like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, when she said it, I was like, I had to I felt it rising in myself. And I said, relax. I'm telling myself, relax, let her calm down and you address it,
Right.
and and that's what you have to do a lot sometimes when you're dealing with major behaviors. You really have to kind of check yourself before you check them, because it's like, again, are they going to receive it or not? It's like, is this the right time to do it or not? But you definitely have to, when those behaviors occur, you have to address them in the moment. But I waited till she calmed down and I addressed it in the moment.
Wow. So I took some notes here, Jamilah, and I feel like you just summarized a whole college course. I heard you talk about knowing yourself. I heard you talk about making sure that you know where you're at and how you're doing, and don't lead with your emotions. It's not about yourself. I heard you talk about timing and making sure that the student that you're working with is calm enough to be able to hear. I heard you talk about knowing the root of the behavior, working with your team. I heard you talk about collaborating with other teachers and making sure everybody's on the right page. And I also heard you talk about correcting her in a respectful, like you said, it was blunt, but it was respectful and caring, and reminding her, I'm not saying this because I want to be in control. I'm saying this because I am here for you every day. We are here for you every day. And you need to think about that, because you can't treat people this way.
Right. Because it's like, you're going to leave here. You're going to go to another school. You're going to go on to college and a job. I can't have you leaving here thinking you can talk to people that way and you think nothing's going to happen to you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because then I'm like, I'm setting you up for failure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's one of the things that I talk about with my instructional assistants, and even sometimes my parents of my students, when it's, when the conversation arises, is as they get older, it's so important, because the world doesn't care. Like you said, they don't care. And not only do they not care, they want you to behave in a certain way. So you're going to lose your job if you don't do the things. You're going to, have difficulty in relationships if you grow up believing it's okay to talk to people this way.
Exactly. Exactly. And you and I both know you have too many kids that do that now, because that behavior was never checked. And when I say checked, it's not even, you are, like you said, doing it in a demeaning way. Like, I never break my student's spirit. That's just a mean person if you do that. If you no, I'm going to correct you, but I'm doing it because I love you and care about you. And I'm doing it in a way that's not intrusive, that's not demeaning. Yes. You know what I mean? Because you have to know, you're not going to function like this out in the world. You're not going to do this. You cannot behave this way. And me working with emotional students that had emotional disabilities, or students that have severe ADHD, a lot of them, are learning how to manage their own emotions. They're going through puberty. They're doing this big social thing, socializing. Do I have friends? Do my friends really like me? Like, she was, and that student, like, I remember she was having an issue with her friend or friends. She was like, oh my God, they don't like me. And that, and I'm like, well, tell me what happened. And she told him, like, well, I can tell you why they don't want to talk to you. I said, you're not giving them the same respect they're giving you. Like, you're not showing interest the same way they're showing interest in what you like. And I think one of her friends said, it's not funny, but when kids say I need space, it just reminds me, I'm like, you're just little adults. Right. And it's like, I had to explain to her, she asks you for space and you're not even respecting that. You
Mm.
can't rush her to feel better.
Mhm.
It takes time, and you have to be respectful. You have to respect that. I
Mhm.
said, can you imagine? And I said, I'm not saying this to hurt your feelings, but can you imagine having a friend like you, just like you, that does the things you do? Could you deal with that every day?
Well,
And
that's
it's making
some,
her reflect on her own
yep.
self, because you can't even tolerate your own self, So I'm
Right.
like, imagine you have someone who actually likes you as a friend, but she needs a break.
Mhm.
You have to respect that.
Wow.
It's so much.
It's so much. It's so much. But
It's
I love how you've put it all out there. And I think you've given so much gold as we've been on here tonight. And so all of these things, well, this was my last question, but I'm going to move this up a little bit and I'm going to say, what is one piece of advice or one challenge that you would give to new teachers in this position?
Oh my God, can I just say one? So many.
You can share two
Um,
if you like. Go ahead. What you got?
so for any teachers, new teachers, and you're trying to figure out how to manage behavior, you definitely have to, like I've already said, know yourself. Um, you got to know your students too. So it can't just be, oh, this is what it is, and da 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 da. Like that can be your system, but at the same time, you have to know, how is that system going to work with your students. So
Mm,
not only do you need to know yourself, you need to know your students too. Like, is this going to be a benefit to help, or will this create more behaviors in my space? So
mhm.
you have to be like clear on that. And the other thing I would just say, be consistent with whatever system you are using. Be consistent and track it. Be consistent and track your behavior. Track the
Mhm.
behaviors. Like that is the biggest thing. Be consistent,
Mhm.
and try to make it manageable for yourself, because don't put something on you that's too much for you to actually implement.
Yeah,
I would say those are the
they're
things I
good
would.
things. Those are great, great foundational things to build on.
Yes, because then from there, like once you do that, it doesn't matter what behavior management system you use, because you know how to implement it and you know
Absolutely.
yourself. And then you're going to grow as a teacher. What you do in your first year, you will never do again. Maybe some things you might, but for the most part, you're not going to do it again.
Yep.
It's like, oh, you know better, so you're going to do better. And you
Yep.
do.
Absolutely.
Yes.
One thing I want to say too, to kind of piggyback on the tracking of the behavior, right? So we know it's important. We know like, oh, tracking, tracking, tracking. Okay. But it's not just tracking for tracking's sake, right?
Hmm.
Sometimes you'll see growth in, how duration. So maybe
Hmm.
you're still having the same amount of outbursts. You're still having 20 outbursts a day. However, they've gone from 10 minutes to 7 minutes each,
Right.
or maybe they're the same amount of time, but there's fewer. Or
Right.
maybe the time and the frequency of them are the same, but the intensity is less, right? So there's so many different ways to see growth, and you have
Right.
to be able to look at all of that.
Right. Like you said, I like what you said. You can't just track to track. You have to track with the intention to analyze the data you collected, because everything, data drives everything.
Absolutely.
When you track the data, you'll be able to see like, oh, I need to create a goal for this, or
Mhm.
I need to create a goal for that. Like me tracking the behavior, it allowed me to see what class the behavior, what subject is the behavior is occurring the most. It is also showing me, oh, which behaviors they're doing very well in, and then what are the behaviors we need to truly focus on, and how can I support you with that focus. to help my students with doing homework, they had to write down their homework. They actually had to put it in a planner, write it down. Now, some
Mhm.
kids, the planner was too much for them. So we made like a Word document just with like boxes, like, you know how you make a chart on a Word document, but
Mhm.
the chart had their subjects and we had lines on it, and we gave them a folder. We put it in a folder, and I would say, okay, as you run out of pages, I'll give you some more,
Mhm.
because that gave them enough room to write out their homework. I'm like, well, when does that due? Writing their due dates and all of that. So yes, the planner is a great idea, but then it's like, it needs to be a certain type of planner that's going to work, for kids or whatever,
Right.
for students or whatever. But you definitely have to track the behavior, and you have to communicate the results with the parent. Um, so something, because when you're tracking behavior, you're either depending, you may track it weekly, or if the behavior is severe, you may have to track it daily. And I hated tracking daily behavior daily. I hated it with a passion. Oh my God. I hate it.
Yes.
I hate tracking daily behaviors. I really do. Like weeklies, I prefer the weeklies, and what I did was I had my rubric, and if you're tracking behavior, it's so much easier with a rubric. It's just so much easier because I had the behaviors and I had the rubric. I think it was 0, 1, 2, 3, or I had 1, 2, 3. And then I had the top, it might have been completing classwork, completing homework, participating in class, arriving to class on time, depending on the kid's need. And then it
Mhm.
was just, the 0, clearly they did not exhibit, it did not exhibit the behavior or whatever. And it goes up
Mhm.
to 1, 2, 3. 3, they did very well.
Mhm.
So I had that, but to make it easier, it was like, I don't want to collect all this paper.
Right.
Man, you got 7 classes. I don't want to collect all these papers, because then I got to sort through the papers.
Right.
So
And you
then,
gotta hold the papers, and then you're gonna have the papers on your desk, and then they're gonna be
right. And
flying
then
all over the place.
that's not really being confidential with the student's information.
Not at all.
Then I fell in love with Google Drive, and I
Mhm.
did Google Forms, but what I actually used was a Google Sheet. I put I had the kids, the students, teacher, subject, teacher, and then it was classwork, homework, participation. And then was one more area. I did a screenshot of my rubric, stuck it there on the side. So all they had to do was put 0, 1, 2, or 3 in the boxes. And then
Wow.
I had the quick formula you can do to sum it all up for you.
Mhm.
I did that because it was easy for me to then share that sheet, a copy of that, with the parent, so the parent can look at it themselves.
What a great idea.
Because one, I needed it to work for me. I cannot do all them papers.
You are teaching me tonight, Jamilah.
I couldn't do all them papers.
I
So
love
I
that.
used that. And that was easy for teachers. And then I had a teacher just ask, would you mind sending this to me in a calendar invite? So that way it could just pop up at the end of my class. I said, oh, sure. I never thought to do that. So
And you
then
can
I did
just
that with,
automate that.
right. So then I did that with, because at first I had it going at the end of the day. So teacher was like, would you mind just having it go at the end of our classes, so that way I know exactly how their day went. Because at the end of the
Right.
day, I'm trying to remember how the day went. I was like, I can do that. And you have to be flexible
Wow.
with your teachers. It's like, because sometimes it's hard getting stuff from teachers. I'm like, if I can make this easier for you, sure. So I had Outlook invitations
Mhm.
to the teachers. So it popped up like maybe 5 minutes before their class ended, and
Mhm.
they would put their information in. And then there was a section at the bottom where they could put notes. So that way the parent, so that's because also I'm putting accountability on the parent. Do not contact me about behavior. You see what
Mhm.
class your child did not do the best in, contact that teacher. Do not contact me.
Mhm. Wow, you're getting props on Facebook for this idea.
And that took
Mhm.
that took me a minute to to come up with, because I'm
Yeah,
like, what's gonna work? Like, what's working?
that
But
is that is such a great
that took
idea.
so much time off of me.
Right. Right.
Yes.
And how much more are you supporting
Mhm.
your co-teachers, and it's all automated. You don't have to do anything after
Right.
you do it one time.
And then when
Wow.
progress monitoring come, you have all your totals there.
Right.
It won't take as long to do
Right.
progress reports and all that. So I had to make it easy for me. Like,
Wow.
but yes, because I could
I
not do
love that.
papers. I wasn't killing no trees.
Good
I
job.
couldn't do it.
That
And
is that is
you might have some
awesome.
teachers that don't like technology. I had one of those. I never forget. I went over to him. I said, please. I said, please stop giving it to me on paper. Please. I said, let me show you how easy it is. And then I showed him. He said, I can never get it. I said, well, let me see. I said, are you logged into Google already? He was not logged into his Google account. So he
So
logged
that's
in.
why it wasn't happening.
Yeah, he
Yep.
logged in. I showed him how to log in. And I said, okay, go there. I said, now you're done. He said, oh. Because I'm like,
It really
please.
is easier, I promise.
So I'm like, I promise you it's so much easier. Please stop giving me the paper.
Wow.
He was a more seasoned teacher. I'm like, please, can I show you how easy this is?
Right? Oh, I love it. I love it. That is good
Ah.
stuff. All right. So before you tell us all about how they can find you, please tell us in this work, how do you take care of yourself?
All right. So I am big on planning the joy in my life.
I love that.
Okay. I want to say work wise, it took me some years to say, hey, I didn't finish it today. It'll get done tomorrow and not do the work when I go home. Like it took me years to leave my bag at the door when I was in the classroom. So when I finally started to do that, it was like, okay, what do I want to do? I'm home now. What do I want to do? Because I'm not thinking about work. You
Mhm.
know, now being an IEP coach and having more control over my schedule, I plan my joy. I make sure, okay, this month, okay, how many outings will I do? Because sometimes my outing can just be me going for a drive and taking in the scene. I like that. Feeling the sun on my face. I love that. I may have an outing with a friend. We may go out to eat. We may pick a restaurant we saw on Instagram or something. I recently
Mm.
did that.
How
We saw
fun.
this restaurant. It had this, we love restaurants that have like a theme. So
Okay.
it had such a nice theme. And then they had like crazy desserts. I was just like, so it was like my birthday. My birthday was that week. So the dessert was called It's Your Birthday. It was like a milkshake. And then it had icing and sprinkles like all over the top of the glass. And then a piece of birthday cake with whipped cream. Like it was just like, oh my gosh.
Wow.
So like, it was like, oh, let's go there.
Absolutely. That's
Uh,
so worth it.
you
You
know what
got
I
to have
mean?
that
Oh,
before dinner.
right. Then it's like, oh, I might schedule a spa day for myself. Oh,
Mm.
I might go for a bike ride today. You know, and I know sometimes people want to be spontaneous, but I'm like, if it's not on my calendar, it's not real. It's not happening. You
Mm.
know what I mean? So I have to
Mhm.
schedule my joy and I am fine with that. So schedule your joy. It could be taking a nap. It could be watching your favorite comedy or your favorite show. It could be you just going for a walk. It's not necessarily you spending money,
Okay.
but whatever brings you joy, schedule it. Put it on your
Wow.
calendar. And I'll say that's how I take care of myself.
I
I
love
love to
that.
laugh, so I make sure I love if I'm watching whenever I get a chance to watch television, I watch something that makes me laugh.
Mm.
So yeah.
So you're
And
very purposeful and very
yes,
planful. And what that says is that you are prioritizing yourself. Good for you.
you
I
have
love
to
that.
because this work can, if you are working in education, it is extremely stressful. It is a thankless job.
Mhm.
And there are times where you feel like you're not valued, that you're not important. But it's like you tell yourself tomorrow's a new day. And you have to prioritize yourself because who in your school is prioritizing you? Nobody,
Nobody.
nobody.
Yeah.
So you have to prioritize yourself and you have to, and I think that takes some mindset work for some people because it's hard. They're so used to taking care of everybody else and do it for everybody
Mhm.
else. Oh, if they're happy, I'm happy. No, no, no. What makes you happy? What
Yeah.
do you feel like doing?
Because you are worth it.
Exactly.
You are worth it.
Exactly.
It's that idea of taking you know, in the airplane, they'll tell you put your oxygen mask on before you put it on
Helping
your
somebody
child.
else.
Yep,
Exactly.
you got to take care of
Exactly.
yourself. Wow. Well, thank you so much, Jamilah, for all the gold nuggets that you dropped tonight. I hope that these teachers that are hearing you're getting hearts on Facebook again. They're agreeing. There's so much. You could listen to this 3, 4, 5 times and get something different out of it. So I know that you definitely have helped people tonight. Jamilah, let everybody know how they can find you and anything else that you have going on that you'd like to share.
Sure. So anyone who wants to connect with me, you can follow me at the IEP Coach LLC. I am at the IEP Coach LLC on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. I just keep it consistent and it's easy for you guys to find me. You can't forget it. The IEP Coach LLC.
The IEP Coach LLC.
Right. And I am Jamilah, the IEP coach. And clearly I love the IEP. I love talking about it. I love supporting parents and teachers with it. And so what we do at the IEP Coach LLC is we help principals keep their SPED teachers from leaving, because I've been there. So I know how to support SPED teachers, and we support them through I'm about to say group counseling, group coaching,
maybe group counseling.
Right. It might turn into a counseling session, So professional development and group coaching tailored to their needs. Because when you, as a teacher, when you feel valued and you're getting support you need, you're more likely to stay. Okay. And some things that we have coming up. We'll be doing our Their Voices Matter series next month. We're going to focus on administrators this time. We did parents, we did SPED teachers. We had Miss Jessica on. It was a great series. Also, we are relaunching our Master the IEP course. It is launching on Tuesday, April the 25th, 6:30 p.m. It's going to be a live stream. So make sure you get on the list. So I'm going to put the link in the chat for you to get on a list. So that way you're the first to know when the course goes live. And by you taking the time to get on the list, you're privy to any bonuses or, surprises that we'll do. So yes.
So tell us who should be on this Master the IEP course list.
All right.
How do you know if this is for you?
How do you know it's for you? If you are a parent, a teacher, related service provider, or I want to say an educational leader, you need to be on this list, because you all either you care for someone who has an IEP, you directly support someone who has an IEP, or you have interactions with someone who has an IEP, and you need to know how to read an IEP from beginning to end, and you need to know what goes into an IEP. So that way you can better support your students and you can better support your children. Okay.
You hear that, folks? Get on that list.
Right. And you can go to mastertheiep.com/get on the list. So that way you can get on the list.
Get on the list. That is very clear. Just go get on the list.
Get on the list. You see how I keep it simple for you? I keep it simple.
I love it.
I keep it simple. Yes.
Awesome. Oh, I am so excited for that course. That's a powerful course.
Yes.
We've talked about that before. That is a powerful course.
A true like labor of love. Like I had so much fun creating that course. I had so much fun going through that course with clients and just seeing their transformation. It's great, because everyone does not know how in-depth the IEP is. And when they do learn it, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I know whoever does go get on the Master the IEP list, go get on the list. You are going to benefit greatly from that course.
Absolutely. You don't got to take my word for it. You can look at the testimonials. So follow me at the IEP Coach LLC, and you can see the testimonials, because we've been dropping them all this week. Awesome. And you can see the stories of why we created the Master IEP. So yes,
she's got it all there for you, folks. All right, Jamilah. Well, thank you so much for hopping on and sharing your time with us and your wisdom, your experience with us tonight.
Thank you for having me. This was nice. Everyone doesn't talk about behavior management. It's not cool and sexy.
It's not cool and sexy. It's like, like, you never see those, how I think I look when I'm running and how I actually look when I'm running. I feel like it's the how I actually look when I'm running,
Right.
right?
Right. Yes, right.
But
That's just exactly how it is. But yeah, thank you so much for
yeah,
having me.
you're welcome. All right, hold on one second. You know what? I think I have to end this live to end this Zoom to end the live.
Okay.
Okay. So, I will talk to you next time. All
See
right.
ya.
Bye-bye.